Hello, this video is to show you how you can use the new changelog feature in Cars. The changelog is a record of how your old DMRB document has been updated to produce the new one. It's something that you'll want to do towards the very end of your drafting process, else you'll find that you need to redo parts of it at the end. You should find that using the changelog feature in Cars is far easier and faster to use than the old-fashioned way of using Word tables or Excel, predominantly because you no longer need to copy and paste your documents in from PDF clause by clause into a table. So the very first thing that you need to do is open up your new document. For this one, I have a document about bears. To enter the changelog mode, over on the left hand side there's a new icon that says changelog view. If I click on that, what happens is my screen is split into two parts. On the left hand side it asks me to pick a published document above to start creating a changelog, and on the right hand side I can see my new document, the one that I've just been authoring. I'm just going to collapse down the section list on this new document side so I have more space on my screen. To select a published document, I can click into the search box and start searching for the old published documents. The vast majority of the DMRB, including Ian's, have been imported into Cars already. Ones which haven't been are often because the document itself is very old or poorly formatted, so it hasn't been possible to read it automatically into Cars. If you have an issue finding your document, please use the contact support button at the top right of the screen here to let us know. I'm going to use a test document called old document here. The very first thing that you need to do when you open up your old document on this left hand side is double check that all the content has been accurately copied across. It has been done manually by people, so people do unfortunately occasionally make mistakes, so we do ask that you just double check that you have all the sections and all the clauses that you need. Don't worry if it doesn't include some of the forerunner sections at the beginning, such as revision information, distribution lists, etc., because that isn't content that's needed for the changelog. If you find any issues with the content of the old document, again, please use the contact support button at the top right of your screen. So I mentioned that a changelog is a record of everything. For all clauses in your old document on this left hand side, what has happened to that text. That may be that you are taking it forward into a new document, you may be only making editorial changes, you may be making technical changes, or you may be deleting it from the document set completely. I'm going to show you how you can input that information quickly and easily into Cars. So to do this, I'm going to take this very first paragraph and I'm going to say that I'm going to make, it's actually in my new document as an editorial change. So to do this, I just click and drag to select all of the text that I'm referring to and release my mouse button. You see that the text has now turned grey. This is called creating a highlight. When I hover my mouse over the text, you see that a menu list appears to the right hand side. There are 4 icons on here and I'm going to talk you through what each of these do. The very first one is to create a link, and this means that there is a link between the old document text on this left hand side and some of the text on the right hand side. So to create this link, I'll click on the Create Link button. A window appears at the top telling me that link creation is in progress, and to create a log entry by selecting where the text is going in the new document. Don't click on the cross just yet. you need to now select the text on the right hand side in your new document, which demonstrates where this old text is going to. So I'm going to click and drag to select this text. This window will then appear, which tells me which document and excerpt my old document text is going to. It will ask me what type of change I'm making, editorial, technical, or technical and editorial, and I will need to make a comment there. Once I click apply, CARS will now show me a summary of what I've just said. If I've made any typos, I can click on this edit button to edit that change, or if I think I've made an error, I can use this delete link button to remove it. What you'll now see is I have two coloured blocks demonstrating that a link has been created for those two. The colours don't necessarily line up within CARS. I'll create a link to this next sentence. So this next sentence here, so I click and drag to create a highlight. I hover my mouse over the text and I click on the create link button, and then on the right hand side I click and drag to select that part of the text which is relevant. If, for example, this paragraph on the left-hand side is actually going to be going to two different places within my new document, I'm able to create multiple links from the old to the new documents. So to do this, I would just again hover my mouse over the text on the left-hand side, select the link button. It will then ask me to create a link. On the new side, I will click and drag. Again, my pop-up window appears and I can add my reason. Click apply. What I can now see is that these are the two links that have been created from that old side text. If I hover my mouse over the text on the left, you now see that the little link symbol has a number 2 symbol, a little 2 above it to the top right. That's telling me that there are two links. If I want to view what these are, I go to the next icon down, looks like an eye. It says view links. And this is how I can review what those links are, edit them as necessary, or delete them. So to edit, I can add text, delete it. I can say that it's now a technical change, for example. And if I decide I want to delete this one, I can just click the delete button and then click the close the change manager. You see that this link on the right hand side is now only grey, meaning that it's only a highlight, it's not linked to anything in the old document. And on the left hand side, we see there's only a number 1 on this link icon. The next thing I'd like to show you how to do is how to mark text in the old document as being deleted from the DMRB. So let's say I want to delete the remainder of this paragraph. So I'll click and drag over the text I'd like to delete. And then on the left hand side, when the menu icon appears, you can see that I've not actually managed to select all of the text in one go. And this grey box isn't actually covering the right amount. So I'll quickly show you how you can start again. So on the menu items on the right hand side, there's a cross at the bottom. What this does is removes the highlight. So you can see that the grey item is gone. So I'm going to try that again and just click and drag over all of the text that I want. You see my my text is highlighted in grey. On the right hand side, my menu icon has appeared, and we see there's now a bin icon. When I hover over it, it says mark as deleted. And when I click on it, it asks me if I want to make a comment. It isn't mandatory, but I might say something like removed to another document set, so something that's not DMRB, for example, and then click apply. you'll notice what happens here is that the text that we'd previously highlighted now has strike-throughs through all the text to indicate that it's now been removed. What I'd now do is I would continue on through my diagram, creating highlights as appropriate and demonstrating where they're going to in my new document. Okay, so my changelog will be complete when all of the text on this left-hand side published document is covered in either highlights or deleted content. I can navigate back through the sections of my document using the menu item at the top left of the screen. If I click on this, it will open up the other sections of my document. I can see that there's another section here called dogs. I may just want to mark all of this in one go as being deleted. So I've highlighted all of the text. I'm going to mark this as deleted. Okay, so once you've created all of your changelog and you have highlights over the whole thing, you may wish to review all of the changelog side by side. At the moment, it's a little bit tricky for you to work out for a particular clause where exactly it's gone to after you've created these links in this way. So to show you a changelog that looks more traditionally like the thing that you're used to or you might have seen before in the MDD training materials, or for someone else in your team to review what the changelog actually says, at the top of the screen here next to published documents, we see that there's a little check grid icon, and that says see whole changelog when I hover over it. If I click on that, it may take some time to load, so please be patient, don't refresh your screen. What we can see here is a table with the published information on the left, so by published that's the old document, and the outcome location and any commentary on the right hand side, so that's your new document. So the first column shows us the published location, then it shows me what the clause content is, followed by the published excerpt. The reason these are in separate columns is because if you look at the row below, we see we've taken the whole clause and split it out and done different things to some of the different sentences in that clause. And this is to enable anyone reading it to understand the context. On the right hand side, it's showing me the outcome location. It's telling me the clause number for that new clause, and it's showing me the outcome excerpt. This means it's far easier for you to understand if there has only been an editorial change between the published excerpt on this side and the outcome excerpt on that side. You've then also got the commentary that's been added by the author. Now, what you'll find is that you may just want to review what the technical changes are to the document, the editorial changes or clauses which have both technical or editorial content, and we've included some filters across the top. So if I want to see all of the technical changes, I can use this technical change button to filter for just those. I can use the editorial changes button to only look at editorial changes, and if I want to look at changes that have been marked as both technical and editorial, we again have a filter. There's also a filter to see all of the changes, or all of the clause text which we've marked as deleted. Another important part of this is to be able to see all of the clause text which hasn't had any designation, so it has no changes put against it. So we can see for this particular document, if I scroll down, there are plenty of gaps in my changelog, and therefore there's still a fair amount of work for me to do. You're able to filter by outcome document on here. Now, what does that mean? Now, in some cases, we're taking an old DMRB document, and some of the text is going to new DMRB document A, and some of the text is going to new DMRB document B. So let's assume that only some of my text is going into this new document, the section on bears, and then perhaps I'm creating another document with a section on dogs. The advantage of producing your changelog in CARS is that you have a shared view of which exact clauses are going to each document. So there's less of a risk of clauses being orphaned or left on their own because all of the information is being kept in one place. We mentioned about the background commentary. I'm not going to show you how to enter the background commentary. There is another video available through the help pages at the top right of the screen if you need to find that. There is, however, a relationship between the changelog and the background commentary. If you want to check what you've said in the background commentary already against what you're putting into the changelog, you can do this by accessing the authoring mode for the changelog feature. So at the top left of your screen, we have a little painting changelog markup mode, looks like a roller, and next to that we have a pen. Now if I click on this pen mode, what that will now enable me to do is make changes to the text on this right hand side in my new document. So I don't want to make large changes here. Perhaps if I spot a small editorial issue, like I have a stray reference on this right hand side, this one in a bracket, I might want to delete that. But the really useful thing I can now do is I can view the background commentary for this document at the same time. So I can do that in exactly the same way I would if I was just authoring my document normally. But on the right hand side we have a menu and it says background commentary. If I click on that, we can see that the background commentary is now displayed if there was any there. So in this case there isn't any. If I click on another clause, it shows me the background commentary for that clause. So you can start to try to join things up a little bit. If you've already done the background commentary, someone in your team's already done that, you can double check that you're saying the same thing in your changelog. Again, if you have any questions about how you can use the changelog, please use the contact support button at the top of your page. I hope you found this helpful.